Welcome to qnawire.
So the rule for adding these velocities would be the velocity of the man relative to the earth would be equaling the velocity of the man relative to the water plus the velocity of the water relative to the earth, or essentially the current. And so we can apply the Pythagorean theorem in order to find the magnitude of the velocity of the man relative to the earth. This would be for part A. This would be equaling the square root of the velocity of the man relative to the water, quantity squared, plus the velocity of the water relative to the earth, quantity squared. And so this would be equal to the square root of 4.2 meters per second, quantity squared, plus 2.0 meters per second, quantity squared. And so the magnitude of the velocity of the man relative to the earth would be equal to 4.7 meters per second. We can then say that the angle of the direction essentially would be arctan of the velocity of the man relative to the water divided by the velocity of the water relative to the earth. This would be equal to arctan of 4.2 divided by 2.0. This is equaling 65 degrees. Or we can say that theta would be equal to essentially 25 degrees below the positive x-axis. So this would be our direction, and this would be our magnitude. So that'd be your answer for part A. And then for part B, we have to essentially, to cross the river, we know that the man must travel 500 meters. And we know that from the vector addition, the eastward component would be simply equaling the velocity of the man relative to the water. This is equaling 4.2 meters per second. And this would be essentially for the x direction. This would be the the eastern component. And so the time taken would simply be delta x divided by the velocity of the man relative to the water. And so this would be 500 meters divided by 4.2 meters per second. So it's taking him 119 seconds to the river. So that'd be your answer for part B. And then for part C, how far south starting point will you reach the opposite bank? Well, we have a current, or the velocity of the water relative to the earth. This is equaling 2.0 meters per second. And so we can say that then delta y, which would give us how far south you are ending up, this would be the velocity of the water relative to the earth, multiplied by t that we found in part B. And so this would be 2.0 meters per second, multiplied by 119 seconds. This is equaling 238 meters. So this is how far south you end up. That is the end of the solution. Thank you for watching.